Now you are the one. I can't remember. Um, but you can because I was involved in religion, but I was never the scholar that you are. Um, uh, that was part of your job
Yeah.
is to know all of it in and out, so you could people pop up questions, you popped out answers, and maybe
Hmm.
that makes sense. It only does because it's true, you know.
Hmm.
Um, I think it was in Matthew 17,
Hmm.
verse 9 or 10 or something. They're walking down the hill from having they were up at the top of the hill, and JC created um, an image in everyone's mind with the help of his archangel,
Hmm.
his primary archangel, and they also are like a mist, which was just the other side phasing in and out. Um, and they saw Elijah,
Mm.
and who, by the way, was um, Paul something or other.
Cherrick.
Yeah,
Cherrick. Yeah.
thank you. And it was also wow, John the Baptist.
Yeah.
So they're walking down the hill, and then one of the disciples says to JC, he says, "Hey, I thought Elijah was going to come back and straighten all that out."
Mm.
And then JC said, "Well, he did. They didn't know who he was, and they killed him."
Mm.
That's reincarnation,
Yeah.
you know. That's going to come into play on just a few instances that are going to help people who are going to be helping you.
There's also in John's Gospel, chapter 9, the man born blind. The disciples ask Jesus, who sinned, this man or his parents, that this man was born blind? Which implies that the disciples thought it was an option that this man had sinned in a previous life and was punished in this life by being born blind. And then you ask, well, who
Well,
taught the disciples that there is such a thing as reincarnation? So
okay.
there's that way in as well.
That had popped in through my head. So, Lily, the personal one with me,
Mm.
because Big Lily, she was asleep. She was being protected,
Hmm.
while my personal Lily was watching me going through everything. It's like, sorry, this is really hard. Uh, well, it's like playing baseball without a ball.
Yeah.
The wow part. So, like Lily, I have a copy of my birth certificate. Finally got that. Cost me almost $200. Um, New York changed its laws years ago about not allowing other people to ask for copies of the birth certificate.
Hmm.
They weren't allowed to have it, and then the federal law changed so that they could have it. So then I called them up and talked to some older man there, and I said I'd like to get a copy of my birth certificate. He said can't do that,
Oh.
and I said why? He
Hmm.
said there's no discussion, just can't do that. And I said you owe me an explanation.
Yeah.
The law just came out, and he goes, it doesn't apply to you. And he said you can lawyer up whatever you want, you'll never get it. It's in your files, it's buried, and that's because I was a hybrid.
Yeah.
So on my birth certificate, it said I was born 7/27/1955, but at like 2:00, 2:30,
Mm-hmm.
2:30, and I said, that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already understood I was born at 4:30. So I
Yeah.
looked at the Lily that's been with me the whole time, and I said, when was I born then? She said 4:30.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, why does this say 2:30? And then she showed me. There was a guy involved in this stuff that did administration. He wasn't actively working on me when they were modifying who I was, starting from embryo. Um, the governments, there's always been this thing with the governments.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they all have their dark um, groups. What do you call them? Black ops,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, the military, it's the military complex, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that was doing administrative went up to the hospital administrator, and the woman who was taking the information, and then he said, this guy was born at this time.
Mm-hmm.
That was after they decided they weren't going to kill me. That, everything was okay and they were just going to keep going. Um, and she asked him, okay, what time? And he knew it was after a good bit after lunch. He just said 2:30.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Sorry, that was a whole lot of time for something so simple. Simple for you, difficult for me. Yeah, it pissed me off when he said you'll never get it, even if you lawyer up and everything. And
Mm.
it was years later that this thing came up on the internet, and they had a problem. It took, a few months, but I finally got it.
Good.
Anyway, so this thing with I had this what they call a prophetic dream. It's when you're being fed strong information, right when you're getting ready to wake up, so that you would have the information when you woke up. As you're waking up, you get the vision message, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the dream. There was a black gentleman with a white robe, and he was thought of. He represented the elders,
Yeah.
but he also represented information that the people were going to need to have.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's a nice enough guy, but he's very serious. We went into a building, followed him into a building, and in his mind, he was saying this guy is like Jesus reincarnated. And that's relative to what's going on. So anyway, I was talking with him, happy. We sat down at his office, and he said, "Here, touch this material." It was like a soft, rustic orange-looking powder in two little containers. I put my fingers in there, looked at it, tasted it, but I felt it before I tasted it, I felt it through my hands. It had like a sweet feeling to it, and the energy just floats very softly, like emanating out of your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, he was running the show. And at that point, he realized I wasn't who he thought he might have been, but I was something else. And then eventually I woke up, and what that was all about, all the stuff I've talked about that I'm going to do as soon as I get out of here. But people need to know what's going on. I'm not JC coming back.
Mm.
I'm not Satan. I'm not anything but who I am.
Yeah.
So I need to put it in writing. and then I need to make a small video about it. It appears I'm going to try to put this new, whatchamacallit, thing on the computers, maybe not though, on my software for making videos.
Mm-hmm.
I might just do it with the Brio
Yeah.
tech. Wow. But anyway, I need to have a piece available to everybody. Some people will hear it and think it might be arrogance, but when I want them, other than putting it on my channel, as soon as I'm out of here, and doing everything, you're gonna need to have that to talk with some people.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Just a simple explanation. That's all it is. It's very short and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Original one was sick. I had to fix what I could and leave you the information and then get out of the body, which has been a nightmare. Anyway, there was something else.
You mentioned ghosts. You wanted to talk about ghosts.
Yeah, but there was something else about this that. Thanks for the reminder, though.
Okay.
I'll probably need it again. Anyway, this is to keep anyone from starting some kind of new religion or something.
I understand. Yeah.
You know, we're family. And starting from the strongest to the weakest, if it doesn't start with the strongest, then it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Equality.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, some of the people that already know it will even in our members, they're like, well, that's kind of like, that's like he's bragging or something. But the thing is, that needs to be out there for the other people and everyone in our group and a little bit out, older members coming back in. Yeah, they know, but they have to remember everyone else doesn't. And there's very few of us compared to what, 8 billion people?
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell's 1,000, let alone the 25, 30, whatever, compared to 8 billion? Okay, I'm going to turn it off and turn it on, the recording, okay?
Okay.